and I purposely positioned something behind me. Can you see it in the bookcase?
Is there a M&M machine? Yay!
Marshall in the middle.
Last night I talked with Shirley Bayless, a hero of mine. We spent a lot of time in the 90s together. She, looking back on it, she and Mr. Jim were the 90s for us, and were Fayetteville for us, and were the Christian church for us in a lot of ways. But I spent some time with her, and I love Miss Shirley, and so I hope you enjoy it. Love you, Miss Shirley.
I'm standing at the door knocking.
Oh, yay! Oh, I let you in immediately.
I see you. Let's see. Hear others, please join audio. Wi-Fi or cellular, I guess, right?
I hear you great. Do you hear me?
Yeah, but you got a thing in front of you.
Okay, what's in front of me?
I just got rid of it.
Okay. Report. All right, what's happening with our sound? Okay, I got it.
Let me turn my phone off.
Yep, that's exactly what I did. How are you? Yay! Oh, look, you got your Marshall in the middle shirt on. Yay!
Aren't I cute? Yours looks different than mine.
Well, it's because yours is so much prettier. Because you're wearing it. Right. So how have you been? You're in Texas, North Texas, back at home. Have you put any more trailers up on top of the roof at the school or anything?
No, not recently, and it's all gone. No, just kind of hanging out in my little bitty house. Got a barn dominium.
All right, we're thinking about doing something similar.
750 square feet.
Oh,
William.
Wow, that's great. That's Ginger and I's first apartment was about that size, Yeah.
Well, we just kind of kept cutting in half as we worked our way up to this point. So 1 bedroom, but I love it. It's my sister's probably, her door is about 10 foot away to her house.
That's awesome.
And so I'm doing really well. Of course, it's been tough. Can't say it hadn't been tough by any means. And in fact, today it was so sweet. The sweetest things to just keep happening. Chris Fox, you remember Chris? He sent me a message this afternoon. He was in Fayetteville, and he went by the church where Jim's ashes and his memorial stuff is, and sent me pictures. So, if it has to be this way, it couldn't get any better. So anyway, it's good. It's good. Stay very busy. I've been helping several friends and acquaintances working with Parkinson's caretakers. Not with the Parkinson's people themselves, but with the caretakers, and helping them understand to some degree what's going on, and is this okay? Is this not okay? So so that kind of helps. That helps me. And of course, I'm busy sewing all the time. I just I've always loved to sew, so that's what I'm doing. I'm involved in a Bible study at the church, and got friends, and we go on little day trips, and just stuff. Well, I'm not going to sit still very long. I got to be moving and everything. So I'm doing good.
So let's take a minute, if you don't. There's going to be people that are listening to this, and this is something that I've done to try to capture memories, right? If we don't talk about some of the old times, our kids and grandkids and and stuff they won't know. And, maybe they don't care. That's fine. But I'll tell you, you're one of my heroes. And you and Mr. Jim and your whole support staff of love angels you had around you gathered Ginger and I up and our little family, and y'all just loved on us, right? For 10 years.
I loved on you forever. I've loved you forever.
I know. So tell me your memories, if you don't mind, of those times. Can you share some of that and those people? I remember the Harders and the Schaffs and the the Agees and just so many people, right?
Oh, there's so many, and I purposely positioned something behind me. Can you see it in the bookcase?
Is there a M&M machine? Yay! Yay!
I was checking earlier with and so I thought, I can see back there. So it usually sits over on the kitchen counter, but I thought I would move it up there to see if you would see it.
So let me interrupt you. Let me tell you about the peanut machine since you put it up there. I'll tell everybody about it. That was at least my initial introduction to gadgets and things at your guys' house when we came over to visit. You had, I don't know how many millions of families through your house, and that coffee table and that M&M machine dispensed one, maybe two, maybe 1.5 M&Ms almost every time. And I think that might be the new improved model. They got improved and upgraded over the years, but I'll tell you what, that was
No, this is the exact same one, Will.
Oh, I love it. So tell me, so I interrupted you rudely to tell that story. Please continue.
Oh, that's wonderful. I remember meeting you guys. Actually, of course, Jim knew Ginger from work, and then y'all somehow or another came to church. And Aaron was about a year old, I think. Robin was on the way, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And the girls, we just could never have loved anybody any more than we love those girls, any more so than we love our own grandchildren and babies. So it was a family. I mean, y'all were part of our family. How many nights did we get together after putting the kids to bed with hot fudge and ice cream? And the memories just go on and on and on. And I tell stories all the time. I think I've become a storyteller because I talk too much, for one thing, but I love to tell stories about how these families came into our lives and have blessed us beyond measure. And yet we're still, every now and then I get a note or something from somebody reminding me of something that we did way back when, and I had even forgotten some of the things, and people just keep popping up out of the clear. I don't know if you remember Phil Hammond. He and his wife were going to Oklahoma City this summer and stopped to see me. I'm about 7 miles off of Interstate 40, Route 66. That's even better. And so they stopped to see me. Jeff and Lori Hawkins, on their trip around the United States, stopped in their big old motor home and even got it down the street in Claude, Texas, and had some of the best visits and memories. And I just thank the Lord every day for my memories. I can't imagine anything any better than what we did and how we lived our lives, and just seeing you, being, watching you seeing the girls. I got to see the girls this summer. Was that this summer? I think it was. And, I got to see them. But again, you're asking about Harters. I haven't seen them, haven't seen Beth now, and probably about 3 or 4 years haven't seen her since we left Fayetteville. She had come to visit us. And after we had moved to the condos, it was on a Christmas, a day or two before Christmas, our doorbell rang in the condo. Well, nobody knew where the condo was. We didn't get many people dropping in. And guess who was standing at our front door? It was Jay and Sherry Shaw. And so, they just keep coming. They keep coming. And in this COVID shutdown, so to speak, and unable to go to church, unable to be participating in things, I found myself sitting on Sunday mornings, just going from one church to another, and happened in Birmingham, Alabama, with Keith Gillum. Do you remember that name at all? And he's a pastor at a church, small church there. And it was just so fun listening to him preach. And one Sunday in particular, I had to send him a note because he used so many of Jim's stories, whatever we want to call them, that he had so many of, that he used so often. And I heard him saying some of those things similar to what Jim had said. And so I had to send him a note and let him know how much that meant to me to hear and see that. So there's just so many. There's so many. And of course, after we left the Nazarene Church and went to Village Baptist, then I was a mentor with MOPS, Mothers of Preschoolers. And those girls, I love my girls. I love my boys and girls, which I still call you my boy, and my girls. And those girls have meant so much to me over the years. And I keep getting notes and encouraging things from all of them. And out of the blue, one of them popped up with something that I had said or done or that we had done. And it's a great life, Will. It's a great life. I can't even tell you how wonderful it is.
Do me a favor, if you don't mind, and remind me of the big picture overview of your bread program.
Okay. It was, I don't remember. It was you. Was it before you?
It must have started before me, because I was one of the ones that you knocked on the door with the loaf of bread, So
Okay.
it may have. I might have been the first. I think I wasn't I? Oh.
Arlen. We were at a point at a time at the church that it seemed kind of stale, and we needed to do something. And we kept discussing, how can we reach more people? And you know the routine, you know the story. You lived it often with us. And I don't know, we were sitting and talking, and I was praying, what can I do? What can I do? And at that time, I was making bread every week and had been for some time. And the Lord says, take them a loaf of bread. Well, okay, I can do that. That was a simple enough thing to do. And of course, if you remember, that was long before GPSs. So every Monday when I would make my bread, and I would always make sure I was a greeter. So I always was able to get the addresses and the names of the people there. And I would take the visitors a loaf of bread. And it was usually about supper time on Monday afternoon, evening. We'd drop off a loaf of bread. Didn't stay and visit, just drop the bread and let people know that we loved having them at church. And we would go. It was not uncommon. Well, Jim, let me back up. You know me, I get my I would usually get the huge big map and sit it out across the table and start pinning where all these places where I was going to take bread that evening. And when Jim got home from work about 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, I would have the map all laid out and bread out of the oven and in the box and ready to put in the car and take off. It was not uncommon for us to drive 50 to 60 miles across Fayetteville from one side to the other and to deliver that bread. And that was the thing that just seemed to really click with so many people. Now, I've even thought about trying to do that here, but we don't have that many visitors. It's a small church, an older church, but still I'd love to get some young people. I never really liked old people.
I knew we would get to that. I knew it. We would get to that. Oh, I don't even like old people.
I don't like old people. I love my young people. I've always loved my young people. So, but anyway, those were just some of the happiest times. And you're just right up there at the very top. Do you remember how you got Jim to Melvin's and for his birthday party and how fun? Oh my gosh, was that not just fabulous? By the way, did you pay him that $80 that you owed him for those hamburgers he bought for you?
I think I still owe him.
No.
I think I still owe him.
Well, okay. I'll remind you of that someday.
If I'm honest with you, I do. I think I still owe. I really do. I think I do.
Well, I'm sure he wasn't too worried about it. I don't think he'll come back and get you or anything.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. How many trips to Melvin's or to the ice cream place did we take? Good Berries, I guess it was called.
Oh yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And Melvin's, oh my, how I miss Melvin's. I'd love to go to Melvin's. And, but some of those things just aren't the same, William.
Isn't it? It is. So it's right. Our lives are about relationships, right? And they're about that physical connection. And we were there in a time and a space and so close and so entwined in each other's lives. It was a magical time.
And to be able to get notes and such from you and Ginger and Mike and Ned and just on and on, Marty and Gina. I don't know. I just can't imagine my life without it. I can't even imagine. I love my children. I love my children. I love my children dearly. And y'all are just my children. You're my family. We've spent so many hours, so much fun. Sometimes it was kind of tough on different things, but not too often. We were just a wonderful, wonderful time.
So do me a favor and tell me a love story about you and Jim.
I've got to tell you this little quite fast story. Jim spent so much time studying in his office and on the computer. A couple of days ago, I opened the file cabinet. Of course, we've done downsized file cabinets too. But here was a folder that said Bayless History. And I pulled it out and read it. I never read it. I had never seen it. It was starting at Jim's beginning and on through, I don't know how many pages was there. And I'm going to make copies and send them to the kids. But it's just amazing. And you remember before computers, he always had his day timer in his pocket.
Right.
And I want you to know, I don't know how many years of daytimer notes he put in to that file. It's just crazy. But there just is never going to be another Jim Bayless in this world. He was so brilliant. He was so brilliant. He could do anything. He could just do anything. And he knew how to talk to people. He knew how to love people. He was such an encourager to so many people and to me. And he was a marvelous man. He was so kind and so sweet to me. There were a few times he thought about kicking me down the steps, but other than that, he said I probably deserved it a time or two. Now, you can't believe that, because I was always so sweet, right?
Miss Shirley, I think you're an angel.
Right. Okay, you know too many things. You don't believe that either.
I love you, Miss Shirley.
Oh my gosh, Mr. Jim, he was. He is a special man.
So that was, he was a second relationship, a second marriage. I know that y'all had just a long, love story of so many years once y'all got together there and moved to Fayetteville and just created a legacy. Tell me about those times, those early years. Were they tough? Were they hard? Tell me about that.
Well, of course they were, but Jim was so good, and of course, having failed both of us in marriage, we knew that something had to be better in our lives, and that's when we felt like God had to be in charge and had to be at the center of our lives, and through counseling, and we got through that, and there were a few tough times, not relationship tough times, but in just dealing with family issues. And of course, my children were close by for a period of time. Jim's children were not close by. And of course, we were very fortunate to get Charlotte and David into North Carolina and close by, and my children. And of course, Kenny he stayed in Kansas with his family, and which was good, he's precious. And then of course, Brad moved to Fayetteville, and then we got to have our grandchildren with us all the time. And there's just so many stories, and how. And you remember Grandma Babe coming to live with us, and how your little girls loved coming over and staying with Grandma. So Jim and I could go do water aerobics and things of that nature. And it's all good. And for him to take early retirement and go into the ministry, and his years in the ministry, God blessed us. And when he called Jim to the ministry, he told Jim that he had trained him well, that DuPont had served him well, and that he would serve without pay for all the years that he was in the ministry, and that he would take care of us. And he did. God took care of us, and is still taking care of me, and DuPont is still taking care of me. So Jim just keeps taking care of me.
So tell me about the Thanksgiving tradition.
Oh, was that not fun? We had so many young families. I think at one point, and I know there's other times, that we had probably, 30, 40 families, and you add kids to that, there was a bunch of families, and probably 80% of those families were from out of the state, far away from home, and that gave Jim and I the opportunity to have more children in our lives. And we decided that it was so sad. Well, I know what it was. We had to close down the fellowship hall at the church because we were rebuilding. I had forgotten that part. So we didn't have any place to go to take our class for Thanksgiving dinner. So I said, come on home. come on to the house. We'll make space. And so we started doing that for our Thanksgiving families, for our families at Thanksgiving that didn't have any place to go. And of course, we'd usually get a few local people drop in too, which was fun. And I remember the year that Jim and I were gone. Jim was still working with DuPont, and we were in Texas, well, in Beaumont, Texas, I guess. And someone said, well, what are we going to do for Thanksgiving? You know, we can't meet at the church, and y'all aren't going to be here. And we said, the house is there. So I remember, that was before your time, I think. Anyway, a couple came over and spent the night at the house, and so they could get up and get the turkey going and get all that stuff going. And ended up, that was the first year that they put the children in the garage to eat and play. So that, you know, and which then that became the tradition. We tossed those kids out in the garage and locked the door. And no, we didn't. But it was such a fun thing to do, and we did that. Well, I don't know how many years
probably
we did
15 or 18 years, probably, I would think.
Probably at least.
Yeah.
Probably at least. Yeah, and I can't even remember when it stopped. I have no idea. It was just there, you know. And then, but that was a fun time. It was always a fun, exciting time, and having the kids make ice cream in the ice cream freezer on the deck. Oh my gosh, how much fun was that? And we would make the little ones go first and then work up to you big guys. And by the way, the freezer is still sitting out in my garage. So please come and let's make a freezer of ice cream.
That would be
everybody come. We'll make an ice cream. Have an ice cream party, and I'll do hot fudge.
So that, I don't know if you realize that, but that's the most requested thing of all of this. What is the hot fudge recipe? Do you remember? It's like cornstarch and some cocoa powder. I don't even know.
It's over there in my cookbook that I put out. Well, we still laugh about my cookbook, but oh goodness, I can't remember. It had cornstarch, sugar, cocoa, and just water, I think. Hot water.
Something.
And then cooked it in the microwave.
Yeah.
And it's one.
We'll look it up. We'll look it up. Get it.
You will look it up.
Oh my gosh. So what memories do you have that do you remember a time back when like I remember us losing a soldier that we had to do a memorial service or anything. Do you remember your time when you were really close at the church and then we lost somebody special?
You know, I don't remember losing one of our soldiers. Can you think of one?
Well, we had somebody that got shot at IHOP right after Ginger took over. They had only visited a couple of times, and they somehow they were associated with the church, and there was something that gone wrong at the IHOP, and they were a bystander, and we ended up doing the memorial service. I was part of that. You know,
I do now remember that, but I had forgotten that. Yeah. I do. Yes. And I think, was that Pastor Smith that did that one?
I think it may have been in between Smith and I'm trying to think of the pastor that was when we first started. Yeah, Pastor Clemens did that.
Clemens.
Yeah.
King Clemens. Yes.
He did that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're bringing back lots of memories, Will.
Right. So tell me some of them. Talk to me.
Well, okay, and let's see. What was that guy's name that played the piano? Jimmy Dale.
Oh, I love Jimmy. You know, I listen to Jimmy Dale now when I'm running. I listen to his album. I have
really?
it. I do. I love it. I love that time, those memories, those spiritual feelings. That's very wholesome stuff. Jimmy Dale was a wonderful man in my life.
Yes, he was. And I do remember that well. I remember that. But we were so fortunate to have had so many, many wonderful evangelists that came to our church and that we were able to be a part of. And you know, the Harders and AGs. Oh, my gosh. It just keeps going. Oh, Mac McEwen. I've tried to find him, and I've not been able to find Mac and Linda. You remember the jacket that every Christmas got passed around, and that belonged to Mac. And I've often thought I'd love to get it back to him, just because, you know. But oh golly, it just keeps going, doesn't it? When you start thinking of all the many, and many that I'm sure you don't remember. Of course, Brad and Rhonda Carpenter, and
I remember.
Oh my gosh, and they were probably our first adopted family kids. And in fact, I spent an hour and a half talking with Rhonda's mother last night. Now, you can't believe that, can you? Can you believe I could talk that long? But and they're doing well, because they were there at part of the time when you were there, weren't they, Fred and Sue? Pray for Sue. She's having to have surgery here in another week, so just put a big prayer out for Sue. They were probably Jim and I's closest friends as couple at our age. I've always said friendships that a couple have with another couple, where the guys get along and the girls get along, those don't happen often. Those are true gifts. And now, of course, you guys, but you're not our age. And then we have another couple, and you know them. I think you've met them. Live in Orlando. I can't even think of their names. I don't even know who they are. Bill and Esperanza. Do you remember Bill and Esperanza? And that was another close couple, and still very, very close. But there's just so many. There's so many. And of course, with Facebook, oh my Lord, I love Facebook. People said, "Oh, I don't know how you can stand it." And I said, that's my lifeline. That keeps me in touch with all of these people that I love so much. And I get to see them, and I get to see brand new grandbabies, and that are absolutely beautiful, and can't wait to squeeze those little fat legs, and just so fun. So those are just such wonderful, wonderful memories that Jim and I had, and I have, and my children had. And I don't remember if you were there, and thinking of memories. You know, I run around in circles. We had a Christmas party, and I think that was before y'all were there, a Christmas reception at our house for all the people of the church. And Charlotte and David and Beth, you remember Beth, Charlotte's friend, they all decided they would do serving. They would be our hostess. And they were dressed in black slacks with white shirts. And they were just being so good and helping people and doing such. And I walked into the dining room at one point, and David was kind of overlooking the table and helping people in the dining room with picking up their food and such. Well, here were a tray of cookies, half eaten, like a bite out of them. And I said, "David, what's going on here?" And he said, "Well, I tell the kids if they don't take a bite of it, if they don't like it, just put it back." You know, those are the funny things that happened, and you can't make those stories up. They just happened. And in fact, I got to tell you, a couple of nights ago, somebody had recommended a movie. I don't even know what the name of it is. A new Tom Clancy movie that's out. You may know the name of it. It's a war. It's shooting. It's Delta Force. It's SEALs and all. I watched about 30 minutes, and that was all I could take of it. I could see my guys. I could see my loves there, and I couldn't watch it. That was a mama's heart that just couldn't watch it. Couldn't watch it. So I had to turn it off because there's just too many of those guys that we've loved so much.
We had a special group of folks that came through the Nazarene Church for sure while I was there, and I know Village Baptist is the same way, right?
Oh yes, yeah, they are. They were, and we were very fortunate there. And as I mentioned to you earlier, that the Sunday school class that Jim and I were in, of course, we first started there and walked into a class after having taught 27 years in the young adult class, and went to a class of people that seemed to think they were about our age. And I walked in and sat down, loved the teacher. We walked out, and I said, Jim, I can't do it. I couldn't go in that class with those people with wheelchairs and walkers. And here we are now. But anyway, at that point, I couldn't do it. We ended up in a much younger class, young couples that were probably in their 50s, that was very young. And they just loved on Jim and I, like you wouldn't believe. And they still do. They still love on me. I get to see them on Sunday mornings on Zoom. There's I hope we never stop the Zoom anytime soon. Of course, a lot of them are in class now and in Sunday school, but there's still several of us that don't make it into the classes. But so they're wonderful people. It's there's wonderful people everywhere you go, and I know you know that. And here, they've been so kind to me. The people here have been so kind and loving, and of course, as I've heard some of my family say, that we could probably carry on a 3-hour conversation with a fence post, but we're really good at it. And now that I'm back in this part of the country where there's also many relatives, I can meet a stranger on the street and we'll start talking and end up, we know one another's family, and we know, it gets to be such a small world, but it is good. God's good. God's good. And I'm so glad that you were a part of my life. I just wouldn't trade it for anything.
I remember one time Ginger and I went away, and you and Mr. Jim painted our bathroom. Yeah, sponge
that was
painted.
that sponge painting I was doing and I fell in the bathtub. Oh, wait a minute. I was always falling off of something one night.
I wasn't going to say nothing. About the falling thing. You didn't fall a lot, but when you did, it was spectacular, I think.
Yeah, I forgot. That reminded me of the fall in the attic.
Right.
Off of the garage ceiling. Yeah, yeah, there were a few of those crazy things. But yeah, we get to do those kind of fun things, sneak in on people and do fun things for them. And yeah, watching those little girls, oh my gosh. Do you remember the little red glass bottles I had in the bathroom? Particularly the 2 older little girls loved. Hey, Will, can I tell the story about Ashlyn and Jim?
Please do.
I'll tell everybody. Ginger was church secretary, and she would have all the little girls at church with her. They had the run of the office area, and they loved Jim. And they were always under the desk drawing pictures or something, or sitting in his lap. He was amazing. He could sit and study, and they would be all over him, and he didn't even know they were there. He could just keep going. He would focus on one thing, and there he was. But anyway, Ashlyn, probably about year and a half, maybe 2, was sitting in his lap, and she was just punching on his face and doing things, and kept punching on his mouth. And finally he looked at her and he said, "Ashlyn, what are you doing?" He says, "That hurts when you're poking my mouth." And he said, "What are you trying to do?" And she says, "I'm feeding you butters." That's got to be one of our favorite stories.
I love it. I love it. Tell me more. Tell me another story.
Oh, then another story with, I think, Robin this time. Robin. And Robin and Jim were going to lunch, I think. They used to get to go to have hot dog lunches together. And somebody turned in front of Jim or did something, and Jim says, "Dodo bird." And Robin says, "That's not what my mommy calls them." That was always one of Jim's fun stories too.
Oh yeah.
I kept telling him for years he needed to write a book. He needed to write a book with all of these stories that happened, and he would just tell so many stories of those girls and how, it was wonderful. And all of our, and now I'm just, when I think about the office and the different people that worked in the office and different things, and over the years, oh golly, it just keeps, my memories just keep going. I'm remembering things that I hadn't even thought of in years, and it's pretty good, Will. You did good here. You did good.
So tell me about tell me about what you thought, your legacy might be, because I'll tell you, your legacy to me is amazing, and those that know you love you. And I was just wondering, is there a, when you're as loved as you are and as blessed as you are, I just hope that you know that, and that's part of what this Heroes I Know thing is about, right? All that time and love and investment that you made into me and our family, is precious. And so I just want to thank you. I love you so much.
I know, and I love you. I know, I love you. And, you think, and I'm going back and remembering how we met you, Marty and Gina, wasn't it? Marty and Gina. And
Mike and Annette.
During Desert Storm. When was it? Desert Storm y'all were gone, or what was it?
Okay, so Mike and Marty were deployed together for Desert Storm,
yes.
They knew each other from work, okay, and
right.
then I went to PLDC with Mike Leeworthy. We went to an Army school together, like in 88 or 89, somewhere around in there. I think 89. And Annette and Ginger became friends. And then Mr. Jim and Ginger worked together.
Yes.
And then Mr. Jim and Gina and Marty and y'all went to the Nazarene Church together. And
right.
So it became a perfect triangle of,
yes.
Pulled from Jim and Shirley, pulled from Mike and Annette and Marty and Gina, and we just triangulated all up on that one area. And, the girls became really close there. And Danny, that I'm not sure that she ever came to the church very much.
No, but she was there with us a lot during that period of time. And another, Smith, help me, lived down the street from y'all, kind of.
Russ and Sandy Smith. Yes.
Yes. And they were, and I get a note or something every now and then from them, Isn't that wild?
They are amazing. I love them. They ride their motorcycles. They got their German Shepherds. They're living their best life. They're doing great.
Where are they now?
In Colorado. I think Colorado.
I go to Colorado often. I may have to check on that. I'll have to find them.
Oh my! Hey, tell Russ to make you ride on his motorcycle.
Well, I do it.
Oh my! Yeah.
It's training wheels and big padded seat for me.
So did you ever do anything crazy?
Me?
Yeah.
Never, Will.
Oh well, okay. No, you don't want to tell me a story about any time you ever did anything crazy or anything? No? You thinking nothing?
Oh, racing in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, 1957, a friend of mine's parents got a 57 Buick. Another friend got a new 57 Oldsmobile. And we haven't been able to remember how this happened, that this came about. But we decided that we wanted to find out which would go the fastest. Well, my friend, female friend, she was not too eager to drive fast, but I was very, very eager to drive fast and did it often. So we went out on a country road, farm to market road, which farm to market roads in Texas are really very nice and long and smooth and dry, asphalt, everything. So we went out and started driving, and we were zooming. I think I was up to about 120 in that Oldsmobile, and looked up to see the Buick behind me, and all of a sudden, the tread on those tires started going off. And, oh, my Lord, I just knew we were dead. We were going to be killed for sure. Our parents would kill us. And it just so happened that the guy in the Buick, his dad was the superintendent of the school. So, we figured our lives were over. And we I guess we got back to town and just went on about our business and acted like nothing ever happened. And probably 40 or so many years later, my daddy was with me in North Carolina, and he said, my nickname was Squirt, and he sat there and he said, well, Squirt, what do you think? What's going to run the fastest, a Buick or an Oldsmobile? Daddy, I didn't even know you knew that.
Oh, that's funny.
But I did love to drive really, really fast. I did do a lot of that. And yes, we did lots of crazy things like putting hay wagons on top of the bank for Halloween, and just little things like that. We lived in an age where if we did those things today, we would have been locked away in jail for years. I just know. But every one of them are just wonderful memories that we just keep adding and adding. In fact, what's left of our class in 2 weeks are getting together, and I was going through some old pictures and such, dragging them out of crazy stuff. Of course, a class as small as ours, there were 21 in our graduating class, and we grew up together from infancy almost. We grew up together, and still are close. Several still live around close and get to see them often. Of course, my brother, he wasn't very smart, so he was in the same class with me, too. So we just did lots of crazy. We did lots of crazy things. I know you know that. You lived too many of them with us.
I'm trying to think about a time where, the worst stuff we got in trouble with was either we'd end up in a shady part of the neighborhood, we didn't know how we were going to turn around, or we was spending too much time at Goodberry's before we got back to get to the babysitters for the parents' night out or whatever.
Hey, you remember the guy that had a snake at parents' night out?
No.
Do you remember that?
No.
One of the young soldiers came in to help. I don't know whose night it was to take care of the children, and we got back, and this young soldier was there, and he had this big snake. You don't remember that? Well, I, of course, nearly died. Of course, I can't stand snakes anyway. I don't even like worms. They look too much like a snake. So, yeah. I could, and here they had these kids with this snake. After a trip to Goodberry's. Yeah. It was fun times.
That's what we would do. We would do that. We would drop the kids off. We would hop in the car and we would run somewhere to get something to eat and just talk and chatter and love on one another the whole way.
And occasionally we would get to go shopping.
Yeah. Sometimes.
We did get to show shopping. We had to make it fast, but we would do it.
Yeah, I think Mr. Jim and I blocked that out of our memory somehow.
I'm sure you did.
Mr. Jim and I used to make the biggest bowl. I would go make the biggest bowl of ice cream I could make for he and I. I would.
Yeah.
You couldn't get any more ice cream in the bowl, and we would eat it all, he and I. And it was like a challenge, I think, at some point, And
I want you to know, until the end, he loved his ice cream.
Oh, wow.
He still, and I do too. I learned a lot of things from him. A lot of things that, and of course, I always liked ice cream, but I guess I learned to love ice cream because he loved ice cream. I love to go to baseball games because he loved going to baseball games. And that was something that I was never interested in, but he loved going. And we'd go, I don't know how many years we would go, and we had season tickets and go sit out there and watch. He loved doing that. That was something that brought him a lot of joy.
So it was the Fayetteville Generals and then the Swamp Dogs. And
the Swamp Dogs. And now, I can't remember, there's a big, huge stadium downtown now. And the year we left, I guess, was the last year that they had the Swamp Dogs. And it was so sad because we loved those young people. And, it was the young men, the college boys that were in playing, and those were good times. And of course, that was when we didn't have other kids, young people around us as much as we used to, and those were good times. Good times.
Yeah, good times. Good times.
Yeah.
I sure do appreciate you taking a little while and talking to me tonight and letting me put it on tape. You are going to edit some of this out, aren't you? I'm telling you, I'll edit a little bit, but I'm not going to edit much. I promise. I'm not going to edit much. It's just such an honor to be able to look at you in this format and tell you thank you. I love you. You're a hero. You helped our country by ministering to so many young families, right? I mean, if we were to stack them up, it would be very high. The bricks of the families that you touched, thousands.
And Will, that was never any plans to do that. That just, God put that together. God put that together and helped us grow. And I can't even imagine how life would have been without that group of young couples all those years, and so many, sending them off and bringing them back and loving them when they came back. And I've got to mention there are several that pastors that were couples in our class that went into the ministry. And I'm trying to remember all those names because those names were at the top of Jim's prayer list every day. Of course, Brad and Rhonda Carpenter, Herb and Angel Halstead, Keith and Raina Gillum. Oh shoot! I see this couple all the time. I can't think of their names. Jeff and Lori, Brad and Lori Lee. Were you with them?
No, they were ahead of me, but I know them. I know who they are.
Okay, they're in Hawaii now, and I love keeping up with them. Oh, and I had to help deliver her baby. Do you remember that story? Y'all were gone. We're not going to get into that one. I was traumatized for some time in Celia. Delivering babies were never on my schedule of things to do. But I did get to help deliver one of Brad and Lori Lee's babies. So anyway, but there was just those people that are so special to Jim, and then there's all the others that are just so special to us that we could go on forever. Could go on forever, just telling stories. Tell
me about the special bathing suit at the hot tub.
Now, where did that one come from? Well,
I don't know.
Oh gosh, I had forgotten that. I think that got lost somewhere along the way. Yeah, where did I find that? At a yard sale?
I think so.
And I tried to make everybody wear it. I don't think I ever got anybody to wear it, but it was a lot of fun. Oh, that hot tub was fun too, wasn't it? Oh my gosh.
Oh, we would sit there.
How many people could we get in it?
We would sit in there and look at the stars, and again, we would tell stories and laugh. And if we did anything, we laughed, right? If that's what we did most of, somehow or another, we were joyful and joyous when we were doing whatever it was, right?
Yes, it was. It didn't matter what it was. We just were having such a wonderful time, and I think there's just so many people that don't have that joy, and I'm so sad. But I'm thankful that you, my loves, I'm so thankful that we had all those years together and all that fun, and still are having that fun and that laughter and joy, and watching your girls grow, watching my grandbabies grow, and just keeps going. And now, can you imagine? You're probably about the age Jim was when you met him. No, he'd have been a little older.
I think Jim was, I think when I met Jim, he was like 57 or 58, maybe.
Yeah, he was just before, probably a couple of years before he retired, and he retired at 58. So you got a little ways yet to go.
I got a couple of years to grow into the shoes somehow or another.
Yeah,
those are the big shoes. The brown shoes, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We won't tell people stories. They're too precious to tell anybody.
I wrote an essay about the brown shoe one.
I saw that.
the Tic Tacs he used to carry with him.
Oh yeah.
I asked you one time, one of the stories I love to think about with you is one time, for many years we stood at the door. If I was in town and I tried to hand out the bulletins with you because I enjoyed standing next to you, and it was just a safe space, and you always, everybody asked how you were. You always said you were wonderful. You were wonderful. You were wonderful. And I asked you, I said, Miss Shirley, what do you mean? Why do you just tell everybody you're wonderful? Do you remember what you said there?
No. What did I say?
You said something to the effect of, do you see those people over there? I'm just full of wonder that they were able to get up and get here and look that beautiful as they walk through that door, because I know that it's got to be a hassle wrestling all those. And it was one of the families, and it was like 6 young kids that are just herding,
Yeah.
and you're like, if I can handle my life, and I'm just full of wonder that they're here and we're all happy to be here. So I find wonder in everything, basically, is what you said. And I was just like, oh, that's so amazing. So I've always thought of that. I've always thought of that, you know, how everything was wonderful.
Everything was wonderful, and it still is.
Yeah,
And it still is. Yeah. I think I was told that I was supposed to say that rather than I could say some other words that were not too good. And as a Texan, some of those words were pretty frequent. So by saying it wonderful, it meant probably the other word, but it was trying to water it down somewhat.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Some things never change. Some things never.
Oh, well, Miss Shirley, my love, mwah, to you. I love you so much. Give you big hugs. Oh, I wish we could
give you a big hug.
I wish we were carrying our bowls to the sink, you know, from the hot
Okay.
fudge and ice cream.
I know. Get out of the hot tub and eat that ice cream. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. All right, I love you.
I love you, darling.
Bye-bye.
Love you. Okay.